In February 2026, 98 e-commerce founders paid us to run Google Ads for them. And in today's video, I want to share with you all the numbers, all the raw numbers. So what they paid us, how much profit we made, our biggest challenges, our biggest lessons, how we did for them and how we did for the agency ourselves. The whole reason why I want to share this with everyone here is because I see way too many cowboy agencies out there, and I think that transparency really is the key and really could be valuable for anyone out there to see what's going on behind the scenes of a seven-figure agency, because that's probably what we are going to be this year. All right, so once again, I prepped a document. So I don't know how familiar you are with this series, but this is the second episode where I will basically share everything that's going on behind the scenes of a seven-figure agency. So I'll pretty much share all the numbers. I put everything that's valuable and worth sharing in this doc right here. So let's just dive into all the financials so you guys have a good overview of how it is to run an agency like this. So we'll start out with our revenue, and as expected, it was a bit lower than last month in January, okay? So for February, we invoiced to our clients about 63k euros. The sole reason of why this is way lower than January is because we struggled with Chinese New Year's. And during Chinese New Year's, most of the clients of us that use dropshipping as a fulfillment method have issues going on with their supply chain, basically, which means that we need to scale down the ads, and we get paid on account size level, right? Which means that if we scale down all the ad spend and all of our client accounts, our revenue goes down drastically, which is why we only generated 63k in euros in revenue for the agency this year, for February, I mean. Now, as for the cost, we still have high cost because we have overhead and we have obviously our service delivery team, right? So the cost that we ran for the agency in February was 52k, which leaves us with a profit of around 11k. Now, this would be something that I would be very nervous about if I wouldn't know better, but I do. So I know for a fact what is happening within the agency and within the space during Chinese New Year's. And I'm already confident. I'm already seeing the numbers of March actually, and those numbers look way better. So it's not something that I'm scared of or that makes me nervous, but it is something that I want to look into to improve for next year. However, so we ran 63k in revenue, 52k in cost, around 11k in profit for the agency. When we look at the leads that we got through our acquisition system, so for those who don't know, we run meta ads for our own client acquisition. We have some referrals, we have some guest appearances on podcasts, for example. And all those channels together brought us in a lead count of 283 leads, which is a good number. Actually, we generated 32 calls from that. So we're scaling meta ads, getting referrals. And as I noted down right here, March will actually be a crazy month looking at the numbers that are projected right now. So we have 98 active clients. We have 4 new clients and actually 2 clients churned. I will get into that a bit later in the video. Last month it was actually 16 clients churned in January, and now we just had 2 clients that churned, which is a huge improvement, so I'm very happy with that. But yeah, those are basically the raw numbers of our agency. Now, the agency, we have a Google Ads agency, so we run Google Ads for our clients, right? And aside from the numbers that we are doing for the agency itself, it's very interesting to see what numbers we are doing for our clients. So what we see, we ran a total revenue for Feb of 3.4 million euros. So we generated 3.4 million euros for our clients in February. Compared to last year, that number is up with 2.6 million euros, which is amazing. That's like a 300% increase in revenue compared to last year, which means that we are doing very well. If we are looking at the total cost, so the spend that we had in our clients' accounts, we spent around 667K, and that's up with 465K. So like almost also a 3x multiple. Then looking at the ROAS, so the return on ad spend, is a very different number. So that number is absolute 509%. And that number is actually up with 121%, which means that even though we're spending more and generating more, the return is also higher, which means that we're working even better and more efficiently than last year within those accounts, right? Which is beautiful to see. Now, as last time, I've written down some highlights that I want to discuss with you. So I've broken them down into two categories. So we have personal and then business. So in terms of personal highlights, I've listed down a couple. So I have a couple coaches, and I have coaches in certain areas that can help me as a founder perform at my best level. So I got a couple people helping me with certain areas of life. So I have a performance coach, all for my productivity and goal setting and everything. I have an agency coach who helps me with the agency itself, like the details. And I have a fitness coach. So the biggest takeaway from my performance coach was that I realized that I need to encourage team members to share their personal goals so we can figure out a way to achieve their personal goals within the company, which basically ensures that those team members will not leave, and even better said, that they will achieve their goals thanks to being a part of the team, which gives me a way bigger sense of fulfillment, gives them a way bigger sense of purpose. And if we can just lay down the roadmap of all of our team members being able to achieve their goals within the company, that's just amazing, because we can help our clients, we can help the business grow, and then we can help all individuals as well to reach their personal goals, which is in the end a three-way win that we want to achieve within the company. Now, my agency coach helped me come up with a way to show more love and appreciation and even commitment to our team members and our clients. So, as I said, we want to get the personal goals of all of our team members and make them achievable within the company. The same goes for our clients, right? So obviously we are scaling their Google Ads to get them closer to their business goals, but we also want to show our appreciation of being a part of Amplifize, being a part of the agency as a whole. So we're working on a way to thank them in a very unique way. And it's something that I don't want to share in this video yet, so stick around for the next video, which is probably the video that I will reveal what we are going to do for those clients. But it's something that's really, really cool and helps the clients and us in a specific way. So that's just something that I won't pull back the cover on just now. I'll get back to that later. Now, I have a fitness coach as well. We started around September last year. We basically did a cutting phase first, where I lost like 8 or 9 kgs. I gotten my leanest until leanest ever, pretty much. And then after that, we started a very lean bulk. And the bulk right now is almost over. And I pretty much learned everything that I needed to learn within that fitness coaching program. So we'll be finishing up this bulk phase by the end of April, which is like 6-7 weeks from now. And then after that, I'll do the cutting phase on my own again, getting basically ready for the summer, if that makes sense. But all in all, it was an amazing experience. I would encourage anyone who takes his fitness seriously to get a coach on that side, because it helps not even just with accountability, but to learn about how intense, like what intensity you need to train at in the gym to get the best results, what actually your diet and rest needs to look like to get the best results. So yeah, I won't get into that too much, but if you are into fitness, I would highly recommend to get a fitness coach. Then in terms of social, I'm in the Netherlands right now, close to my family, close to my friends, and I have found that it is really fulfilling and really fun to spend a lot of time with them now that I'm here. And there's something that I want to share with you a bit later in this video as well about my whole location situation. But let's just stick with this. I will be in the Netherlands for a little while, and I want to spend as much time with my family and friends as possible, which is a lot of fun and helps me basically recharge for another focus season or focus days or focus period when it comes to work. So that really helps. Now, in terms of content, that stuff is really picking up. So as I said, this is the second founder reflection video. These videos aren't the only pieces of content that I'm making right now. So I'm really pushing on Instagram right now with like 3, 4, maybe 5 high production reels a week. And those are doing very well. So we had our first viral reel, which was a reel with 35K views, which is, for me, that's viral. So if you are interested in getting all this content and on all the Google Ads nerdy stuff and the founder reflection stuff digested on like a short form platform, make sure to follow me on either Instagram or TikTok or whatever. Now, those were the personal highlights, but obviously business, aka Amplifize, the name of our agency, is a huge part of my life as well. So if we're looking at the business, we grew another team member again. So last month we hired a new media buyer. This month, so February, we hired a sales executive. And this was actually the best hire ever in terms of client acquisition, at least, and in terms of getting my own calendar not as packed with sales calls all of the time. So we hired that sales executive. I trained him, although he already knew basically everything about Google Ads, e-commerce, closing, talking both Dutch and English to prospects and really understanding their problem and seeing if we even could help them in the first place. So I'm very happy with that sales executive. He actually closed probably more than I have closed in the past 1 or 2 months. So that's just amazing. And we're really scaling on our acquisition channels right now. So like, I'm not sure if that would work for anyone, but it works really well for me. If you are an agency owner, it might be helpful or it might be wise to look into client acquisition funnels to run paid ads towards. And you probably need some form of a personal brand, like people need to associate certain things with your face, pretty much. But once people associate, for example, with me, it's Google Ads and e-commerce, they associate that with my face. And once people make that association and you have a good ad and a good offer, you can basically get the whole client acquisition stuff to work and to get it to scale. And that's something that every agency owner struggles. But right now, because we're getting that good of results with the existing clients, we can share those results online. We can share everything that we are doing within the company. And then on top of that, we're running funnels to certain lead magnets and for people to book a call. We basically nailed the client acquisition part. So we're scaling up the ads and we are projected to get towards our goals of the year, which I will get into a bit later. Which brings me to the acquisition part. So we absolutely nailed our lead system, onboarding new clients by the day. The closer that I onboarded, or the sales executive, however you want to call it, he literally takes calls all the time. So he texted me last Friday saying, hey, I closed a lead, and it was like 10:30 p.m. Which only shows how bad we all want it, right? And that's the kind of spirit that I want to see within the team. It really fires me up as well, and it makes me all energized to go into full content mode and client acquisition mode altogether. And then obviously we have the sales delivery side of the service delivery side of the business, and all those team members are doing amazing as well. We're getting guided by Google, by some external experts, and we have our internal masterminds, which basically helps us level up. So altogether, I'm very happy with how the business is going. So yeah, that's just that. Then, I don't recall if I mentioned it in my last video, but within Amplifize, we're looking to find a bigger purpose, right? And the whole reason that I'm doing that is because some days or some weeks even, it can feel kind of empty to grow the business and see certain numbers growing, but not to feel a certain impact that we're making to society. And I don't think that you should be impactful 100% of the time, 7 days a week. But I do think it's smart to think about that if you do feel empty yourself as a founder. So I basically sat down for a day and I tried to figure out what we are doing currently for the society as a whole and what we can do better. And it made me realize a couple things. So if you look at the core of our agency, we are generating business, we are generating revenue, and we are building a team where the entire team can live off of their paycheck that they earn at Amplifize, which helps all of the team members and their family members, which is already, in my opinion, something that we're doing for society because we're having a positive impact on all of our team members and their families, right? Now, one layer further is all of the clients that we are helping. And some clients don't have a very impactful e-commerce business, but some do. So we work with brands that help people get healthier or get people certain supplements to get their mental strength up, or get people to stand up while working, which is also health related, or get people to buy stuff for their home that makes them feel feel at home and makes them feel happy. So with that and with helping those clients, we are already making a positive impact for the society, I would say. And then obviously we have the founders / the owners of those businesses that we are helping to grow, where we will have that positive impact on them and their family as well if they're commercial. So those are basically three layers. So we have the team, we have the owners of the businesses that we help, and we have their clients if they're having some form of an impact for like what their business is doing, right? But then one layer further, I want to do something from out the core of Amplifize that we are literally very directional, helping anyone. And you can do so in certain ways. I'm still figuring out what would be the most purposeful and the most fulfilling way for us to do that. But in the meantime, we're just donating to a certain charity of choice. So what we did in Feb is, for example, we donated 100 meals to families in Sudan. And the families in Sudan, they had kind of a conflicting situation. It was kind of unsafe. People had to flee their homes. And we decided to donate at least 100 meals to them. So it's not like the biggest life-changing thing, but it's something. And it's at least the first step towards doing something for the society, right? So we'll keep on doing that and then seeing whatever else we can do for having a positive impact. And I also saw that when I shared this with the team was very happy to see that. So to see that the entire business has a very positive impact on things aside from just the e-commerce part of the business, right? Which is just awesome. Now, on to the rest of the achievements. So the charity achievement was an achievement in my opinion. Obviously, we have some other achievements as well. So we have some beautiful results that I wanted to share with you. So we have a 4K day for a client with a ROAS of 4.6, sharing a big win from Dennis, one of our team members, where they achieved a 10x ROAS with 3.2K in ad spend, which is beautiful to see. The first 1K day for a client, 62 orders, which was a record for this client as well. So beautiful wins with an uplift in sales and revenue, downtrend in cost, and an uptrend in ROAS. And basically this list goes on, right? It will take me a long time to share all of this, but yeah, that's just that. Also, with one of my team members, Joost, I just had a lunch in Feb. It was a cold day. but the sun was shining, and we decided to take a cold plunge in the sea in the Netherlands. And I don't know how cold it was, but it felt like an ice bath, right? And like, can you mention this as an achievement? I think you can. I think it just it was fun as like a team building activity, and then also for some form of mental toughness, because as I said, it was cold. Okay, so yeah, that was just fun. So yeah, that's just everything that I wanted to share with you in terms of the achievements. Now, I also wanted to share some photo library highlights. So we visited Google headquarters, and we have another meeting at Google headquarters this Tuesday. So in 2 days, I'll see if I can share some content about that to bring this beautiful camera, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but this is a new camera, DJI Osmo Pocket 3 with the good mic. So the sound is probably better than in the other videos. But we'll go to the Google headquarters. We have a event afterwards, Think Consumer. It's hosted by Google, and we were invited as the agency. So we'll go with 4 team members to that event. It will probably be awesome. We'll shoot some content, share some insights, and that will be something cool. Also, going all in on content. Right now, we're not using an auto cue. We might use an auto cue if we're running a very difficult script or a very long form piece of content. But yeah, that's just something that I'm working on, trying to see what's the best scene as well. And I know, like, maybe it's a bit too much information, but I wanted to take you along on this entire content journey, because yeah, some days it's harder than others. Now, one other picture that I wanted to share with you is we have this dashboard. I cannot show the entire dashboard, which is why it's kind of blurred. But we have this dashboard where we basically finally can see everything that's going on within the business. So we basically see all the revenue numbers, the ad spend numbers, how the clients are doing, how the retention is doing, what new clients we closed, which clients are in a misrepresentation, which is a big Google issue. And basically we get a big KPI overview of how the entire business is doing internally and externally, which gives us a good overview of how we are doing and what we need to be on the lookout for. So that's something that Anouk built. Anouk, shout out to you. She's our operations and finance manager. So I couldn't build this without her. And that's just my appreciation to her right now. Let me get into the challenges, okay? We lost 2 clients. And compared to January, where we lost 16, I would say this is an absolute win. Still a challenge. Like, we need to make sure that all clients stick around. Or that at least most of the clients stick around, and that most of the clients are doing very well. So I still see it as a challenge that we lost 2 clients, but it's way better than January, right? Now, the reasons that those clients left is one client had to switch agencies because of cash flow, so they needed to go to a smaller agency or freelancer or somebody who basically was cheaper, because we are an expensive agency. You pay for what you get, but this client had cash flow issues. It wasn't because of Google, but because of their, I think, other channels. Maybe it was SEO, maybe it was another channel, but their cash flow was taking a hit, and they needed to switch agencies. And yeah, we're gonna miss them, but some things happen. Now, the second client that we lost, that client joined our agency too early. So as I said, we are expensive, which means that if you're only spending 1K or 2K on ads, and you're spending the same amount on the agency, getting an ROI for the entire service plus the ad spend is kind of hard. Which is basically why this night a client needed to leave. So they couldn't handle the high cost in comparison to what ROI it delivered. So that's a lesson for us, that we need to be even more strict when it comes to potential client qualifications. And that's something that we are working on. So those are the 2 clients that we left. Now, at a personal level, I'm still struggling with location determination. I basically created a LinkedIn post and I deleted it again as well, because I scheduled it for like 2 weeks later, and the moment of writing, I was pretty certain that I just wanted to buy a home in the Netherlands. So I scheduled that post. And then the day before the scheduled post went live, I had this breakthrough conversation with a friend of mine who is also an entrepreneur from the Netherlands, who basically slapped some sense in me and made me realize that it's not a logical step for me to basically force myself to stay in the Netherlands, to be here all the time, because the Netherlands isn't the place that makes me 100% happy, right? I just want to travel. And it doesn't make sense to lock myself into a house here and to basically determine that big of a choice and to buy a house and to lock myself here while something that I really, really want to do is travel the world still. Go to Southeast Asia or maybe Cape Town and work from there because we have the opportunity to do that. So that's why I listed out this personal challenge. And I've written down, I'm making a hard choice on where to base myself. I created a LinkedIn post about me being very certain about buying a house in the Netherlands so that I could travel. So that was the reason, right? After a conversation with a fellow entrepreneur and a good friend, he slapped some sense in me and I realized that that's not logical at all. If you want to travel, go travel. If you want to buy a house, buy a house. But don't buy a house in order to travel. That doesn't make sense, right? So I basically decided that it's time for a new chapter of traveling. And it won't be taking place right now. I am going to Bali again in May, which is like the digital nomad hub, as we all know. And after that, I don't know exactly what my location/life structure is going to look like, but it will probably be more traveling, and I will probably take you guys with me because I'll be creating these videos at least once a month. So I'll be creating content about that as well. And I might be picking up this camera because, as I said, it's like a small, good camera. It's a mobile camera. DJI Osmo Pocket 3, if you wanted to know. And I can just take that with me on my travels. I also got a Meta Ray-Ban sunglasses, right? Which is cool for the POV kind of shots. So you'll see that later. But long story short, I won't be locking myself in the Netherlands. I will be traveling more, and I'm going to take you guys with me. Now, let me move on to the key insights. Key insight number one is that hiring a closer was the absolute best step of the year so far. Now, it's only the reflection of February, so 2 months in, but it was the absolute best step so far because that closer is an absolute killer. And I know that I have to thank God on my knees that my first closer was such a good fit, because I've heard some horror stories about that as well. But my first closer, Sebas, is the absolute best team member that anyone could ever wish for. And I've gotten them from a closer community, which placed him very well. And now he's just the closer of Amplifize. He doesn't have any other companies that he's closing for. So he's our sales executive, and he's only doing that right now. He does the best job ever. He's closing deals better than me even. And it's just beautiful to see that now we have an entire system that runs and grows without me being involved. And yes, I still need to do the marketing. So I still need to build my personal brand, which is what I'm doing right now. But as long as I keep on doing that and the content keeps on working for me and the ads keep on running for me on Instagram and Facebook, the qualified booked calls will end up in the calendar of the closer. And once the closer closes the deals, the service delivery team with our ops and finance manager, Anouk, they'll just take care of the service delivery, which is just a crazy thing to see. And it took me a couple years. But now that we're here, it finally freed up my time to focus on building the business instead of running the business, if that makes sense. And I think that's something that at least any agency founder would want to be at some point. And now I'm finally here after like 4 or 5 years of building this thing. And that's just beautiful to see. So that makes me very happy. Now, I also like embedded something which is the management meeting. So we have a meeting with the Ops and Finance manager, the head of the branded Google Ads accounts, and the head of the dropshipping Google Ads accounts, and obviously me. So with 4 people, and it's basically a mastermind of the biggest players of in the team, brainstorming ideas to improve retention, acquisition, and becoming future-proof. And with the 4 of us, we can just really spot the biggest issues within the company, whether that's about acquisition or retention or anything in between. We can spot those issues and solve them together, which is very valuable. So now it's a weekly thing, and we'll be keeping on running those management meetings, which actually brings me to the 3rd key insight, which is that I restructured my calendar to having a manager day on Mondays, and then leaving Tuesday until Friday for mostly deep work. So content, obviously, and then business development. So probably tasks and attention points that follow from that manager day. Now that manager day looks as follows. Like I will have 5 calls or 6 calls even that day. So with the Ops and Finance manager, service delivery team, sales meeting, marketing meeting, content meeting, and then a meeting with my performance coach. So 6 meetings in total. That will just be me having calls back to back throughout the entire day, writing down all tasks and ideas that comes from all those calls, and then scheduling all the tasks for the rest of my week. And then just being caffeinated, all energized, and going all in on all the tasks that we came up with, right? Which is very powerful. And I would encourage anyone, if you're in the position to do it, to schedule all your calls in one day, and then using the rest of your week, if you have the opportunity, to use the rest of your week to nail all the tasks that follow from those calls. Because then, and probably only then, you can be prioritizing working on the business instead of in the business, right? Now, let me get to the projections and the goals, okay? So I listed down this table right here where we can see January, February, March, and April. And we see 3 important KPIs. So we see the revenue, the cost, and the profit. And this is agency-wide. So what we see is in January, we had the best month ever with 97K in revenue, 52K in cost, which gave us a profit of 45K. Amazing. Now, February, as a goal, we set 64K in revenue, 45K in cost, and then 19K in profit. It ended up actually being a bit lower. Not too low still. We still made 11.2K in profit, but it's in the danger zone. So it's something that we have to be on the lookout for, especially because we're scaling up ads and we have that closer, which isn't cheap, right? So what we see is for Feb, the goal was 64K. We did 63.7, beautiful. Cost goal was 45K, but we actually did 52.5K in cost, which means that our total profit, instead of the goal of 19K, was 11.2K in profit. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, we already know the reason why the numbers look like this, right? It's all Chinese New Year, mainly. Now we're closing deals like never before. We aren't dealing with Chinese New Year anymore, and we're scaling up ads heavily. As long as KPIs are met, but we are, so we can just scale those ads. Which means that March projected, the goal of March was actually 100K, which I said in my last video. Now realistically, the projected revenue is around 80K, which means that we still need to close some deals to hit the 80K, but we'll probably do 80. Now, in terms of cost, we're aiming for 50K in cost, delivering us a profit of 30K. And I'll update you by the 1st or 2nd week of April about those numbers, but those are the projected numbers for now. So 30K in profit again. And then from April, we want to get to 100K revenue again and above from that month on forward, right? Which means April, 100K in revenue, 60K in cost and 40K in profit, which leaves us with a profit margin of 40%, which is something that we really want to aim for within the agency space, in my opinion. And I'll update you about the projections and the goals in the next video again. But those are the projections for right now. Looks kind of good. If we would take this average, it will be around 30 to 40K in profit. Let's just say it's the higher end for 40K, and we do that times 12. That means that we are probably going to run $500,000 in profit for the year. And I still believe that we are going to grow heavily, which means that we'll probably do more than that. For February, I've written down a couple conclusion points, okay? So it was a tough month because of Chinese New Year. Still, we ran profit, which is great. We're already moving into the right direction in terms of numbers if we are looking at March. And with the new acquisition systems in place, we're feeling confident that we are going to hit our goals. And our end goal for the year is 300K in December in revenue. Now, that means that right now scaling season has begun. I'm freeing up my time and that has given me peace and new energy for the main focus areas, which is content as #1 priority, retaining clients aside from results, so bonding and working on a unique appreciation method, if I can name it that way, and then putting our team's A players in their power. So having conversation, aligning personal and business goals with each other. And then all together, we're very happy with how we're moving. Even though Feb was a tough month, we see that all signs show that we are entering the biggest, craziest year of Amplifize. And even the craziest phase, which is what I've written down, right? Now again, I want to be as transparent as possible while sharing all of these insights with you. So if you want to know about certain topics, just drop your questions below. And don't miss out on our next monthly updates by following me on the socials or subscribing on YouTube. And maybe my editor can put my username on the socials somewhere, maybe right there or something. Yeah, you'll probably see me. We can see each other on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, main platforms. LinkedIn is also a main platform. And for now, thanks for watching this video. I'll see you next time. Have an amazing day. And thanks again so much. Let's make this the craziest year we have all had. Okay? Thank you so much.